Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today we are on question number 2 of 1000. So I'm answering up to 1000 videography questions. So if you have any questions, you can just drop it in the comment section below, and I'll answer it in a more detailed video just like this one. So today's question is, how can I post a high quality video to social media? And that's what we're going to be looking at. And without wasting time, let's get started. In this video, I'm going to go through different aspect ratios that you should use when you are posting your videos to social media, as well as export settings for recommended video settings that you should use in order to get a high quality video after you export it. So it's a little bit detailed. If your video is looking really super high quality, but when you post it to social media, it loses quality. The reason being is these social media platforms have got compressors. So they compress your videos to match the recommended settings that you should have used to post that video. So they do this when you post your video which doesn't meet their recommended video settings. Each social media platform has got its own recommended video settings that you should use when you are posting to them. So if you post a video that doesn't really meet those recommended settings, those compressors, they'll compress your video, making it lose quality because these compressors are pretty aggressive. So if you are trying to post a video, let's say on Facebook, you have to know what are the Facebook recommended video settings to posting a video there, which you can actually really find on their website. The same applies when you are posting your video to Instagram, to YouTube, to TikTok. All these informations are always there on the website. As of making this video, here are the recommended video settings for different platforms. For Facebook, these are the settings. Then we have for Instagram, then for TikTok, for WhatsApp, and for YouTube. And if the social media platform that you are trying to post is not among these, you can just simply, if maybe for example it's Twitter or maybe it's LinkedIn, you can just simply go on their website and check what are the recommended video settings to posting videos on Twitter or Twitch. All right, whatever platform that is not here, but this is more like the common platforms that most people post their videos to. Now let's look at the aspect ratios, which is pretty very important as well. So each platform has got its own native aspect ratio, which is just the proportional relationship between the width and the height of your video frame. Again, here are the most common aspect ratios across different social media platforms, and I'll show you how to create each one of these in Adobe Premiere Pro. So let's jump in the computer so that I can show you exactly. What I'll do is I'm gonna import my video clip just as an example. This video over here, just drag and drop it in the project window. The first one is the 1:1 aspect ratio, which is more like a square video, and it is suitable mostly for Facebook and Instagram. So we're just gonna create it quickly in Adobe Premiere Pro. Just right click, go to sequence, and then I'm gonna make sure I select the DSLR preset here, and then I'm gonna click 30 frames per second, and I'll go into settings so that I can modify these settings. And then on the frame size, I'm gonna change it to 1080 by 1080, which you can see here, it's 1:1 aspect ratio, and I'm gonna write this one 1:1 aspect ratio, and I'll click OK. So you can see it's a square video. So I'm just gonna double click on my video here and make sure I just pick a clip that I'm gonna use for this demonstration. So I'm gonna get it from here and here. All right, just this clip, and then I'm just gonna drop it in the timeline. I'll say keep the existing settings, and I'm just gonna resize a bit, and then just rescale the video so that it actually really fit. So that is the first one. That is the first aspect ratio. The second one is the 4:5 aspect ratio, which is 1080 by 1350, which is also mostly suitable for Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. You can also use the aspect ratio on TikTok, but I normally use this aspect ratio for mostly Facebook and Instagram, and as well as WhatsApp. So let's create that one, which is same way that we created the first one. So this one is 1080. The vertical is 1350. And then we can say The name for this one, we're going to write it 4:5 aspect ratio. Okay, you can see, and then we're going to just get that same clip again and resize it for this aspect ratio. Keep the existing settings, and then I'm going to resize it like so. All right. The third aspect ratio is the 9:16 aspect ratio, which is mostly suitable for TikTok, Instagram stories, Reels, as well as WhatsApp. So let's create that one. And we're going to go new sequence the same way again. And I'm going to create this one. It's 1080 by 1920, like that. And then you can see it's a 9:16. And then this one, we're going to rename it 9:16 aspect ratio. All right. And then we're going to get that video and resize it again, just like the way we have been doing. Okay. Just going to resize it just a bit. And the fourth aspect ratio, which is mostly common, is the 16:9, which is the 1920 by 1080, which is mostly good on YouTube, Facebook, or any other device that plays videos in landscape. All right, so let's create that one as well. And go to settings, 1920 by 1080, it's already there. And then we're gonna rename this one 16:9 aspect ratio. All right, and then I'm gonna put that video clip here. And resize it to fit properly. All right, so we have 4 different aspect ratios now. We have the 1:1 aspect ratio, which is 1080 by 1080, and then we have a 4:5 aspect ratio, which is 1080 by 1350. Then we have a 9:16 aspect ratio, which is 1080 by 1920. Then we have the 16:9 aspect ratio, which is 1920 by 1080. So these are the most common aspect ratios, and this is how you create them. One thing to note though is these aspect ratios are not limited to each platform. You can actually post a landscape 16:9 aspect ratio video to TikTok, or post a square video to YouTube. It's not really like a problem. But before you post your video, you need to know how the viewers will watch your video. Are they going to watch your video through a mobile phone? Are they going to watch it maybe through a TV or on YouTube or on a laptop? So that way you'll be able to know exactly which aspect ratio you should post your video in. So if I know that I'm posting a video to TikTok, I know that most of the people watch my video via the phone. So that's why I'm going to post the video in the 9:16 aspect ratio, so that the video appears already full screen on their screen, like it takes majority of their screen. They don't have to, rotate their screen in order for the video to become big. That's why it is always really important to know exactly, if I'm posting this video, most of people who are going to watch this video will watch it on a mobile phone, hence these aspect ratios. So if you post a video, like for example, this one, you'll find that it is easier to watch on mobile phones, and this aspect ratio, it's easier to watch on mobile phone. This one, it's even the best to watch on mobile phones because it comes already as a full screen. But if you posted this aspect ratio on a mobile phone, it will look very small at the top, and you don't want people to start rotating their screens. So that is really important as well. Now let's come to the export settings that you must use. Like I said, you have to know the recommended video settings to the platforms that you intend to post your videos to, right? So once again, these are the recommended video settings to the most common platforms that you can post your videos to. So we have YouTube here, we have Facebook, we have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Facebook. there are two settings that are so important. That is bitrate, which is responsible for the quality of your video as well as the file size of the video. And then we have resolution, which is simply the dimensions of your video. If you are exporting a 4K video, but you are using a low bitrate, like for example, 2 megabits per second, the file size will be very small, but the picture quality will be very poor. But if you reduce the resolution to, let's say, 480, and you use the same 2 megabits per second as in bitrate, the video will be very small as well as having really good quality. So bitrate kind of like goes hand in hand with resolution. So if you want to make your video file size smaller, you should reduce the bitrate. And if you want it to have really like high good quality, you should also reduce the resolution. The other thing that you need to know is aspect ratio doesn't change. You can have a 4K video that has got an aspect ratio of 16:9 and also an HD video that is still having the aspect ratio of 16:9, or a half HD video that is still having the aspect ratio of 16:9. So aspect ratio doesn't change. When you reduce the resolution, you can still maintain the same aspect ratio. Having said that, let's go back to the computer now. Let me show you how you should export those videos. So I'm gonna open Adobe Premiere Pro like before, and I'm going to start with YouTube. Let's say I was exporting this video for YouTube, right? So just select the clip or just select the timeline that you are intending to export, then go to File, Export, Media. All right, so this is our export settings where we should put all the correct settings. So let me bring that chart again. You can see for YouTube, the format that we need to use is either MP4 or MOV, codec H.264, and then the resolution, we can choose any of these 4K HD or half HD, and then file size, it goes up to 256 gigabytes, and then bitrate, anywhere between 8 and 50 megabits per second, and frame rate we can use 24, 25, or 30 frames per second, or even higher. So let's go back to our export settings so that I can show you exactly how to set these things up. So you can see here on the format, you can select all the format that you need to do. If you are doing MOV, you could select QuickTime, but I'm gonna go with H.264. That's a format that I'm gonna use. And then on the preset here, I don't really have to do anything, but these are really like good quick settings. You can like select if it is 4K that you want to export, you can just select 4K here, and you can adjust it later as you will see. But I always like to leave it at here at match source, and then the name, I'm just gonna leave it the way it is, but I have to direct where I want to set to save my video. So I'm just gonna make it in videos and then press save. What I like to do here on the video section here, what I like to do is to come here and select this render maximum depth, right? And then on here, if I was exporting this video in 4K, right now it is in full HD, but if I was exporting it in 4K, I was just gonna change the settings here by clicking this button and then adjust these settings here. So that is 3840 by 2160. So make sure this button is checked like that, so that as you are reducing the width, the height will automatically reduce. And then if you come down here, this is where the magic happens. So if I'm exporting the video in 4K, I usually set my bitrate to 40 megabits per second. So what I usually do here is to select VBR 2pass, and then, where did it go? And then target bitrate, I'm gonna make it 40 since it is in 4K. And then maximum bitrate, I'm gonna also make it 40, just like that. And then I'll click use maximum render quality, and those will be my settings. Those will be my settings. From here, I'll just press export. But if I want to export a HD video, maybe I want to reduce the size of this estimated video size, I'll go to the resolution again, and I'm gonna change it to 1920 by 1080, and then I'll go back to the resolution. You can see the estimated file size is still the same, so I'll come back here and reduce it. So anytime I'm posting any video in full HD, the bitrate that I normally use, which gives me a good quality, is 16 megabits per second. So I'm going to reduce it here to 16 megabits per second, as well as the maximum bitrate to 16 megabits per second. You can see even the file size has reduced now to 13 megabytes. Right. But if I was exporting this video in half HD, I'll go back to the resolution settings there and put in half HD, which is 1280 by 720. And then the resolution, the bitrate that I normally use for half HD is usually 8 megabits per second. So I'm just gonna target bitrate 8 megabits per second and maximum bitrate 8 megabits per second. And when it's done, I can pause and I can just click export, and the video will be in high quality. So we are done with YouTube. Let me show you how to export videos for WhatsApp. So when you go to WhatsApp, you can see the recommended video settings here for WhatsApp. MP4 or MOV format, and then codec H264, and then resolution that is recommended for WhatsApp is half HD, which is 1280 by 720, and the size of the video should be below 16 or 16 megabytes, and also the length of the video must be 30 seconds only. And then you can see on the bitrate here, it is 2 to 5 megabits per second, and then the frame rate here is supposed to be the frame rate is 30 frames per second. So I'll go back to the project, and this is the project that I'm gonna post. I'm gonna take as if I'm posting this video for WhatsApp. So if I come here, File, Export, Media. All right, here we are. So on the format here, we have seen that it's H264, which is also going to be MP4, but on the resolution, it has to be half HD, which is 1280 by 720. So when I come to the resolution here, I'm just gonna unclick this button, and then I'm gonna adjust the height, which is supposed to be 1280, like so, and then you can see it will automatically adjust the width to 720. Make sure you always check this button for that extra good quality. And then when you come to bitrate here, change it to 2%, then come down here, and then the bitrate, the recommended bitrate for WhatsApp is supposed to be 5 megabits per second. So I'm gonna put 5 megabits per second. Even the target, the maximum bitrate, I'm gonna put 5 megabits per second, and then make sure this button is also checked. And there you are. You can see our estimated file size is 4 megabytes, right? So if you post this video to WhatsApp, no matter what, it will look very clear because you have already put in the correct recommended settings. So WhatsApp doesn't have to recompress your video again. All right, the rendering is done, and let me export the same video as if I was exporting it for TikTok. So I'll come to the timeline here and select the timeline, and then go to File, Export, Media. And then for TikTok, here are the recommended settings for TikTok, which is 1080 by 1920 resolution, codecs, and then the bitrate is 4 megabits per second, and then the frame rate is 30 frames per second. So what I usually do is for TikTok and Instagram, I don't really necessarily follow the recommended video settings, because I found out that even if I posted a high quality 4K video, it is still, the compressors are not that really aggressive. So you can still post a 4K video to WhatsApp or Instagram, and the video will still really look super high quality even when you watch it through. So for TikTok and Instagram, I don't really like reduce the file size or anything. As long as it's just really like a short video, I always post them in like full HD. So when I come here, you can see 1080 by 1920, which is already okay. I don't even dare to reduce whatever size, and then I'm just gonna click the maximum render settings there, and then I'm gonna come to the bitrate settings, and I'm gonna put it at 2 pass, and mostly I'll leave it at 16 megabits per second because the video is being exported at full HD. So target bitrate 16 and also maximum bitrate 16. And if I export this video to Instagram or to TikTok or to stories, I think it's still going to look okay in most cases. In fact, I have tried this before, so it is really important that you also do some trials, you know, like export a video, post it and see how it looks, then delete it and then come and put the correct settings. But for TikTok and Instagram, you don't have to really like reduce, even if it was 4K, even if it was HD, even if it has got a slightly higher bitrate like 16 megabits per second, it doesn't really matter. It will still play very smoothly and look high quality even after you post it. And then the other one that you just really need to be very careful about is Facebook. So let me export this one here as if I was exporting it for Facebook. So I'll just go to File, Export Media. For Facebook, what are the recommended Facebook settings? So if you come here, you can see you can post a video. The highest resolution you can post is 1920 by 1080, you know, which is cool. The file size is almost from 250 megabytes to 4 gigabytes, and then the bitrate is between 3 and 5 megabits per second, and the frame rate is 30 frames per second. So this one is so easy. So format H264, the video file size, leave it the way it is because it is already having the resolution that we need. You don't have to reduce anything. And then maximum bitrate, I'll just make sure that one is checked, and then I'll come to the bitrate. I'll just change it to 2 pass, and then I'll leave these ones the way they are because Facebook, at least we are exporting almost a half HD. If you look at the resolution that we have here, it's a 1350 by 1080, which is almost like a half HD. So I'm just gonna leave the bitrate to 10 megabits per second and the target, the maximum bitrate to 12 megabits per second, and you're still really gonna have a good video quality on Facebook. And that's it, guys. That is how you post high quality videos to social media. Number one is you have to really know what are the recommended video settings, and number two, you have to actually really set your aspect ratio depending on how the viewers is going to watch your videos. For mobile phones, I always really recommend that you post your videos in portrait mode, and also for people who are gonna watch those videos in landscape or maybe on their computer on the TV, make sure you post your videos in landscape, which is 16:9 aspect ratio. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video where I'm gonna be answering another question. If you have any questions in videography, just answer it down below and I'll pick it and make a detailed video just like this one. And I'll see you in the next video. This is it. Peace.